Hi, I'm Julie Barber, CEO of Spark Consulting. Today I'm going to take you through 6 key mistakes that people make when pitching for investment for their startup or scale up. I've been working in large corporates for 20 years across regulators, banks, consultancies, doing lots of transformation and innovation, and through the course of that having interactions with lots of startups who are pitching for corporate investment or sales and watching them get it really wrong and ruining fantastic opportunities that they had. That's part of the reason why I went into working with startups to help them raise investment. So what I'm going to go through today are some key pointers that will help you stop making the same mistakes that those startups did that I saw previously. So 6 things that we're going to go through today. The first of those is story. So when you're pitching, it's so important that you take people through a story. When people talk about death by PowerPoint, it's not the fact that there's a PowerPoint, it's how that is presented. So if you're saying, and now let's turn to slide 3 and look at the financials, that's death by PowerPoint. If you can turn your presentation into a story, why did I start this? What do I do now? How do we solve this problem? How much success have we had so far? It's really engaging as a story that you can take potential investors through. The second thing that you need to watch out for when you're pitching for investment is passion. It's really easy if you're not used to pitching, if you're not used to presenting, to come across a bit flat, to be a bit quiet, to be a bit too calm. Investors need to know that you are absolutely passionate about what you do, that you love it inside and out, and that you are the right person for the job when it comes to solving this problem that you've chosen. The third thing that you need to avoid when you're pitching is making your pitch, your presentation, inaccessible. So what do I mean by inaccessible? Putting too many words on a slide so that people are trying to read the slide rather than looking at you when you're talking. Putting complex terms in that people don't understand. You might understand them because it's your product, perhaps your technology. And putting abbreviations and acronyms in also that people might not understand as well. So even in the words that you speak, also make sure that you explain every single term or use the long version of the term the first time, and then you can always use an abbreviation of it once you've explained it. But the objective is to make people feel like they understand every single word you're saying, and that they don't feel stupid by the end of it. The fourth thing that you need to think about when you're pitching as well is worry. Not your worries, but the worries of the people that you're presenting to. When you're presenting to investors, when you're pitching for that money that you need for your company, you're faced with a person or a panel of people perhaps who all have a collection of worries inside their head, and they keep those worries as a kind of checklist to help them evaluate new propositions that they see. And what they want you to do is actually tick off each of those worries and tell them why they shouldn't worry about those things in how you pitch and present to them and what you tell them. So they might worry that you don't have a big enough market. Make sure that you tell them the size of the market that you can address. They might worry that your team isn't particularly credible or has the right skills in it. Tell them exactly what you've got. It's really important that you dig into what the person that you're pitching to will worry about, and then make sure that you tick off all of those worries in your presentation. The fifth thing that you need to think about when you're pitching is credibility. So when you're pitching, when you're presenting, it's really important to show that you are credible as an entrepreneur. That means that you must remember to tell them about your prior experience, whether that's work experience, life experience, all of that needs to come in, and you need to present that and talk about yourself in a confident and credible way. And sometimes that can be the hardest thing to do. Talking about your product with passion is easy as anything, but talking about yourself with confidence can be much more difficult. But you have to remember that you're there to sell you as well as your product and your company. People invest in people, and if they don't believe in you, they aren't going to give you any cash. The last thing that you need to think about is how you should be better and different when you're presenting. It's really important that a potential investor can see how you're better and different than your direct competitors in your market, but also how you're better and different than the 100 other pitches that they've seen in the last month. So you've got to be able to stand out. You've got to be able to be the ones that wow their socks off, that really impress them. So think about how you can stand out in that way without being gimmicky, but it's really key to make sure that you do stand out somehow, and that they take away that impression of they're the ones that I want to invest in. So those are 6 key things that you need to think about when you're pitching for investment. I hope that's been useful, and of course you can feel free to follow me on social media, on LinkedIn as Julie Barber, and also Spark Consulting, and you can also find us on our website at spark-consulting.co.uk or on Twitter at Spark for Startups.